have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order when we are successful, and we will be. We have a real chance at this new world order.
I'm under arrest. Look, I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Так вот, не первый раз я вам говорю, что вы провалились.
Well, now for the first time, I can tell you that you're a disaster.
So they said they were walking out the press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
And we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset.
I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Welcome, everyone. I think this is episode 8, is it? Hey, Jess, how are you? I'm here with
Hello.
Shirley Derely, WaifuChron. I'm not sure which one to use. Or should I just call you Jess?
I am here.
Can you hear
We're
me?
doing a
Oh,
thing.
wait.
I can hear you. Yeah, I had
Oh,
some audio issues I just had to clear up, but I'm good now.
that's all right. I'm not sure if I did too, because like halfway through the intro thing, it just dropped out for me. I'm not sure if that happened for anyone else too, but
Oh,
my computer
it
has been
sounded
a
good for
nightmare
me.
today. Like, oh, good, great, okay, because I opened something up by mistake and then it just all the audio stopped, and I thought, shit.
Oh no.
Because my computer's been weird today. Like, it just wouldn't. Like, I went to restart it. Every time I do a new stream, I'm like, let's just restart, check that Windows doesn't need to do updates and all that. But then instead of like, it wouldn't post. Like, it would just go beep 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 beep,
Oh
which usually
no.
means there's a hardware issue. So like, yeah. So I had to like take the thing apart and like make sure everything was plugged in properly, and it just, yeah, and then it just stopped and it started working. But anyway,
It's good to it's good
today
to see you. This
yeah,
is
it's
our
great to
first
see you,
time
Jess.
having
Like,
an interface.
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I've watched Jess on you feature regularly on the Autonomous Zone with
Mhm.
Howard, and it's just you and Howard now, isn't it?
Yeah, the last few months or so, Jack had a little one, and he's been doing the
Yeah,
dad thing and working a lot. So just us for now.
yeah, just us, just you guys, and you also before that you already had your own channel, the Waifu
Mm,
Chronicles, or that's right. I've got it right.
you've got it right. You're actually one of the few people that have gotten it right from the jump. Like, so
Okay,
I'm
great.
actually
I
coming.
listed it down below.
Thank you. So I'm actually coming up on almost my 1 year since creating the channel. I know YouTube might say otherwise, but that was just like having, I don't know why I created the channel, but like actively creating a channel and like making videos and all the things. I'm coming up on 1 year here in a couple weeks. So that's
Yeah,
wild.
that would be right, because I remember I found you during, and like everyone else, during that whole Eliza Blue thing.
Ah,
When all that
oh
exploded,
yes.
that's how I found you. And I found you. I think I found you first before I found before you found Taz.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know
I
that
remember.
that was as big of a deal as it was at the time. Like the Eliza Blue stuff, I was new
Well,
to Twitter, and apparently it was huge.
well, I didn't know it was going to blow up to be so big either. The only indicator I got was that a lot of people were, because I've been very vocal about supporting her before it all blew up. My
I
Twitter
remember
started just
that.
going crazy and crazy, and like
Yeah.
it just wouldn't stop. And so I got to the point where I'm like, I'm going to say something because no one else is saying anything, and I feel a bit embarrassed about how I've sort of
Mm.
supported her before. And so and then I'm not sure. I found you, and I remember like just noticing how organized you were right from the get go. Like you had like spreadsheets and stuff, and I did a really adult thing. It was like you inspired me. I did a spreadsheet of all my like upcoming and past episodes and stuff, and I've got
Nice.
like
I
all
love
the episode
spreadsheets.
notes and stuff. And I know Excel is actually really great, especially if you automate it,
Mm.
and it just I don't know, the inner nerd in me comes out. Um,
Oh,
I'm not
I
sure.
love that stuff.
I didn't advertise this one a lot heavily. I just because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Like at the moment, I've been doing Twitter, Twitch,
Hmm.
Twi tw YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. So like all these different
Oh,
things
okay.
on like no one watches on there, and I don't. I really I hate Elon Musk. I hate Twitter. That
Oh
will come
no.
up in today's episode.
Okay.
um, I don't want to harp on it too much because I know people just don't want to hear it. Like they prefer being stuck in the spell. I know there's a lot of viewers on my channel that that are not for him, but like
Mm.
on Twitter, I notice people just like, "Can you shut up about it already?" I'm like, "Well, can you? I will when you will." Like
Yeah.
when you stop making him out to be a fucking hero, I'll stop complaining about it because he's not like, you know how he blew up the other day with at the Read Book Summit, the New York
Oh.
Times Read Book Summit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah.
fuck yourself. And I just saw that first snippet and I thought, well, that's really not responsible. And then I went back and watched the entire thing. Went for about 2 hours or an hour and a
Oh
half,
wow.
and he was disheveled from the moment he walked in. He was on
Really?
edge. He actually, people think that that was off the cuff. I think he went there to fuck shit up. He definitely went there with a bad mood and a bad attitude. And you
Okay.
could see it right from the start. And he said a number of
Mm.
things throughout that, like after that point, like he said one thing that I really agree with, and was like, what we see is a lot of people trying to look good but doing evil. Fuck them,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And I agree with that sentiment. I even agree with his sentiment of like, if you want to blackmail him with money, fuck off. However, I just don't agree with the way that he's characterized the situation, and that it's going to
Mm.
be all entirely the advertiser's fault for choosing to not advertise where they don't want to, and as a result, his business model is that 90% of the company survives off that, and he doesn't have the liquidity to float it on his own. People
Mm.
constantly citing him as being the richest man in the world when they just that displays a real ignorance of how the world works. Um, he's not, and I don't think he's even close. He's the richest man that they let you know about.
Sure.
Um, he's the he's the richest man on paper that they are allowed to say. But there's people that own money, like own the system that is money.
Hmm.
They they're like Rockefellers and Rothschilds and things like that. Those sorts of $1 trillion families. There's $1 trillion families out there.
We don't
And
talk about
$1 trillion
those though.
individuals out there.
Yeah.
But then Elon Musk goes on and says things like, "Well, we're doing more than any other company on Earth for the environment." How? He just says that as a blanket statement. He says it
Mm.
frequently. He says it frequently, and he cites that because he cites his Tesla car, his electric car manufacturing thing
Hmm.
as that effort. That just the fact that he makes electric cars is proof that he is in the super environmentalist that he claims to be. When
Mm.
that totally sidesteps the issue of cobalt and how they make all the batteries and all of
Exactly.
the fossil fuels that go into building the machine in the first place.
Hmm.
And then how do they get their electricity? Like, where does that come from? A fossil fuel grid.
Yeah,
So
it's a bit of a joke, right? Like,
it's an entire, and so it turn if you want to, and I know you don't like praise him like Jesus, but a lot of people do praise him like Jesus. There's people that say, "Oh, everything this man touches turns to gold," and like
ew.
it's really cringe.
It's super cringe. Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean, I can find him entertaining. I can find some things that, like with
same.
anybody, if they say something that I like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna like it. I might retweet it, but it doesn't mean that
there's a lot of things that.
yeah. I mean, but it doesn't mean that
Sorry,
you
I keep.
support the entirety of this person and their opinions and their political stances and all the things. It doesn't mean that, you know. I do think there's a little bit of a delay with your audio, by the way, so we
Is
might be
there?
stepping over. Yeah, I think there might be a little bit.
Sorry, I'll be mindful of that. It's probably about half a second or so. It doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
Hey, we got min effort with Tebow. His name's
We
Daniel.
have
Another Daniel.
Tebow.
There's Daniels everywhere. But
Yes.
the
Daniel's son.
meme worthiness of Elon is what I appreciate. Yeah, he's a mean king. Like he's done a lot of things that are good, and I won't like trash that. But he's done a lot more things that are bad, in my opinion. Like for example, I've tested out the Premium Plus just to see because he told everyone, "Oh, you'll get access to this Grok thing, the AI," and because I use
Oh, yeah.
OpenAI's GPT-4, and I wanted to compare it because I know it's not going to be as good, and I wanted to shit on it publicly. And Elon and Grok on Twitter have been going around saying it's available to everyone that subscribes to Premium Plus, like now. And that's a lie. Just like all the other things he says, it's a lie. It's not true. So if you go and actually pay for the Premium Plus subscription, then go to sign into Grok, you'll be met with, "Oh, register your email with us and you can be onboarded to our early access program." And okay, like, and he's still like literally
Okay.
yesterday he was tweeting out about it. So I'm sitting there with customer support saying, "Can you fucking tell this cunt to stop telling people?" Like, and I'm screenshotting his tweets, going like, "Stop telling him." 1,000 men. What do we got here? Audio sounds good. If you have a delay, I'm not listening. I
You know
think
what?
it's just between me and.
Yeah, I think it's a StreamYard thing. You know what? I'm gonna pop out and pop right back in, and see if that fixes it for
Yeah,
me.
sure.
So I don't want to step on you. So I'll be right back.
You're fine. I'm stepping on you more than anything because I talk over people all the time. It'll get better when you get Premium Plus. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's just I'm not going to pay for. I've already cancelled it. I've already moved it back down. But we'll see. I just thought that it would get access to Grok straight away, and I don't get anything. So, and we
I'm
have
back.
Jess is back. How are you? You seem. I can hear you straight. It seems like I don't notice it, but it's probably because I'm talking over you a lot.
I don't think so. It didn't fix the issue for me because I can see your mouth moving, but the audio is not in sync. For I don't know. StreamYard is
Okay.
weird sometimes.
Yeah,
But
StreamYard can be strange sometimes.
yeah, it's been doing some funky stuff lately, especially like if you share screen and like all the things. It's kind of wonky.
I see no reason to pay. I have zero incentive. Well, I paid because I wanted to stream on there, and I'm streaming there now. But then I started going like,
Mm.
no one really watches there. No one watches there at all. And today won't be as long a show as usual. I'm still not feeling very well. I think Jess has to dash off eventually as well. I
Yeah,
thought today's
eventually.
episode. I do have a list. I do have a list of notes here, but it's not in any like. It's not in any like decent order. And I haven't like I need to work on what I do for every episode is I just throughout the week I'll get a bunch of links and I'll just put them in a notepad file and then just go from there. So let's start off with this one thing which I think is fun. The title of today's episode is A Brave New World, and it's a sort of a play on Aldous Huxley's book from 1931. And if you're not familiar with Huxley's book out there, you guys, it's cited together often frequently with George Orwell's book of 1954. called 1984. And both of these two books were very prescient in terms of what today's society was going to turn into. In Brave New World, the title of which is actually it's drawn off of Shakespearean's The Tempest. I think the line is, "Oh wonder how many godly creatures here there are. How beauteous mankind is, oh brave new world that has such people in it." And I was watching actually 2 film adaptations of Brave New World because I didn't know there was a film of it. Like, because of 1984, they did quite a popular film adaptation,
Yeah.
which was pretty good, and it had like John Hurt in it,
Mm-hmm.
and but there was one for Brave New World. There was one from 1980, which was like 3 hours long. It was
I
great.
haven't
It was
seen
actually
it.
really good.
It was good?
Yeah, it's it's like you can tell it's just really old, but it was a good watch. Like, it was interesting to watch to see how they were probably more faithful than the 1998 version that I saw, which had Leonard Nimoy in it. You know,
I
Spock.
haven't even seen that one. I actually started
Yes.
re-listening to the audiobook again, and I'm like, oh man, like having listened to it or read it multiple times, but it's been at least 5-10 years maybe since last read through of it. And it always stuck with me. The first time I read Brave New World was in high school, which was late 1990s, early 2000s. And
Me
it
too.
stuck with me for a long time. But listening to it now, and it's like, oh my god, like it's
It's a little bit
literally now.
shocking.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
in previous reads it was like, oh, dystopian future, oh, things could go to this, I can see it, right?
Mm,
But now listening
yeah.
to it, it's like, this is happening.
This
It's
is
a
so
different
prescient, and it was
perspective. Yeah.
it was written in 1931.
Mm.
Consider that. Like, this is like, and so if someone could figure this out by then. I always thought, like, when I learned of 1984 and when that was written in 1954, I was like, wow, that's really ahead of its time. But then go another like two plus decades back, it's like, yeah, no, there's the Huxley, and because there was Julian Huxley and there was a Thomas Huxley, wasn't there as well? There were like famous brothers, like they, or
I'm not
maybe
familiar with the others,
he was
but sounds right.
Oldest, I think, was the most famous. Anyway, the story basically is set is set in the year 2500 something, 2540, I think, and it follows these 2 characters. One's called Bernard Marx, and he is they don't have individuality in this new life. They've stripped all of the individuality away. They've stripped the sense of family away. It's like things like mother and father and family are actually considered to be vulgar words in this new
Yes.
world. And they're all highly encouraged to what they call engage with one another frequently.
From an early
And
age.
if they, from a very early
Very early
age,
age. That
like
this most recent
prepubescent
read through,
ages.
yes, from the, and I think that was another layer. I've only gotten a few chapters in because I'm trying to listen to Atlas Shrugged, and I've got stuff going on, so I'm like back and forth with the different books that I'm listening to. But that was
Yeah,
probably the most uncomfortable thing, and I don't remember that portion as vividly as, re-listening to the story. It's like, oh wow, this is gross. Like the
it's
the
really gross.
indoctrination of
It's
children.
confronting.
Yes, and it's
And they
so
make that in
similar to some of the
in
things
both
that
of the
happen now.
films, in both those film adaptations, that was something that they put at the very start of the film as well. It was like, it was something, it was one of the opening scenes. You see young children, like really young children, being taught about sex and
Mhm.
promiscuity and encouraging promiscuity and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it's a really interesting book. Anyway, this guy Marx, he's a bit of an outsider in this new world. He's too smart. He's considered too intelligent, and he's doing too much work in his allotted time frame. And so rather than punishing him, they sort of take him on as a bit of an experiment. They watch him closely.
Mm.
They consider him for like maybe good potential for upper management in this organization that is now what seems to be a one world government. And they have this guy Marx. He picks out a lady friend to go on this tour out to this savage reservation, which is basically where we are living right now.
Right.
We in this new world, we become known as the savages, and we stay in this lost world, but it obviously decays and breaks down once they have gone into their technological advancement, and they become a breakaway civilization essentially. Most people in the savage world barely even know about these new people, but they go out there for a holiday, and I can't remember what happens. Can't remember what happens because I've been watching the film adaptations. In one of them, they crash. They crash in this. No, in both of them, they crash. What happens in the book? They crash in the reservation, and they ended up taking. What happens? They get saved anyway. They go back to this where they're from, but they take these two people with them. One of them's like a half breed. He came from. His father is in the new world. Anyway, I'm getting too far into the film. The film's very prescient. You should look, or the
I need
book
to watch
rather. Sorry,
this.
the book's very prescient.
The book
You
is
should look up the films. There's one in 1980 and one in 1998. The 1980 one's the best. But just as a little preview on what we have in store for this brave new world, because that's where we're here right now. Let's go straight to who I had this bloody tab open. Let's have a look at this. Found this on Twitter the other day. And this is going to be all over the place, guys, because I'm just shit at doing this, but I'll get
You're
there.
great.
This is something at like the EU or NATO or something, and they're doing like this crazy, crazy ritual. And I just like wonder, like, this gives me a lot of like CERN vibes. Demonic. Now she's starting to play weird. Has anyone seen this shit before? How uncomfortable does this make you?
It's weird. I've seen this
It's
video
so
before.
weird.
I mean,
You've seen it?
okay. I've seen this video before. It's been making the rounds, I don't know, at least a year or so. But you know, it's
I hadn't
on
seen
one
it before.
hand, like part of me goes white people shit, like interpretive dance, kind of like weirdness, right?
Really weird.
But at the same
and yeah, it's definitely
time,
that at one level.
right? But at the same time, why in this venue, which makes it the weirder part, right? Like it's
That's
already
the weird part.
but why is it here?
I already showed it.
Like even if
And
it's just a art display of whatever, if you're
yeah,
gonna make an excuse for that, but why though? Like
well,
sussy.
they're just into super weird art. Like the
Of
Podestas
course.
are into really weird art. I don't know if you've heard of John and Tony Podesta, but look into their art
No,
collections. It's very,
I
very weird. Um, it's I don't know what to say about it because it's sort of like it feels like almost like some sort of spell they're casting, and I think in their mind that's what it is.
And there's a woman at the lectern there, right? And she's reading or chanting or something while this woman is
To a very stable beat. Yeah, it's definitely a
yeah.
chant of some sort. It's a
Can you make out what language it is, or is it just like a
I'm not sure.
like a
No, I don't think it's English. It's not English. I think
No,
it
it's
must be
not.
like Latin or something, or it's not even Latin.
It
Doesn't
doesn't
sound
sound
Latin.
Latin. No. It's bizarre.
I don't
Very
know.
bizarre. And
It sounds
just
very
like the
tribal or
yeah, but just like the bum 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 bum, like it's
the
it's
stable
weird.
beat. It's
Yeah,
it's very spell-like, like spellbounding. It's like all the shaman chants will be similar. Like not in such a deep, dark way, but like when you're doing some sort of spiritual ceremony, there's always this kind of regular beat that they have to keep to. It's weird.
interesting.
I don't know how
It's
to
bizarre.
describe it.
And the participants or the audience members in this particular video, it's weird that I don't know, everybody just seems like total deadpan. I don't know. Like
Because I bet they're used to it. or they. I
I guess
mean, yeah,
so.
it's. And this is sort of like I've seen. Have you ever seen like videos of when they do, like at the Freemasons, where they do their initiation ceremonies?
I recently, this past
It.
last few days, I saw like a resurrection thing on Twitter.
Uh,
Somebody was hidden camera with their rituals to
I
bring back
think
this
we might have
person.
been looking at the same thing,
I think
but I
probably.
think. I think that's the initiation ceremony. I think that's like how they
Oh,
initiate you. Um, or it might be a slightly different one. But you know, like they're supposed to tear a part of your shirt off and then stab you with a dagger, not pierce you like to the point of
sounds
like
totally
injury.
normal.
But I think they're supposed to it's like a prop dagger, but like they're
Okay.
supposed to. I think they're supposed to pierce the skin, but only slightly, or something like that. It's weird. Don't ban me, YouTube. It's the Freemasons. I didn't make it up. I was looking it up because I thought, I wonder if I could join just to sort of infiltrate, see what they're up to. This was years
Well,
ago
okay.
when I was like really stoner.
So funny little factoid. My grandfather, who was a horrible human, pedo and all the
Oh,
things, terrible person.
oh, great.
He was a member of the Freemasons at one point.
Okay.
And
Didn't
as
surprise
as
me.
much as I had known of him, we weren't close, for obvious reasons.
I can't imagine why.
He did have a stroke in the 80s that left him only able to say hello and oh hell. So
Oh, that's
fine.
helpful.
Yeah. But when he died, finally, the only organization that would be willing to do the memorial service was the Freemason Church. And that was the
Right.
most bizarre funeral memorial service I've ever been to. It
Wait,
like
the Freemason Church? So like in the actual lodge?
no, it was in a community hall, but the
Oh,
the
okay.
white-haired white dude with his little apron and the little branch and all the things, like
The Grand Poobah.
he did a thing, and I was just like, what is happening? This is so bizarre. But that was my
Yeah.
only
And
exposure to anything about the Masons and like all the things. And then only further into my adult life had I heard more of the how sussy it all is and all the possible
right.
connections and conspiracy theories and whatnot. But that was my first exposure to seeing any sort of service or ceremony. Um, Very bizarre.
Really bizarre because it's like it's
Mm.
about there even in the early stages, it's all about being available to your community and being able to help fellow Freemasons. It's like a mob. They set it up like a mob so that if you're financially able and someone else isn't, and they need help, it's sort of like it's expected of the entire Freemason lodge to help that person. Um,
The
in
family.
any
Oof.
circumstance, in any
Yeah.
circumstance. So if you can't find someone to bury you, even they'll do it. This is probably why they've got their hands on some of the dirtiest shit out there. And it gets into higher orders and higher degrees, which is sort of far more obscured than you could ever. Because I was reading into like how to enter. You can look up online. You can just look up your local lodge, find their website, and find the entry forms. You have to be religious of some sort of deity. You have to believe in it, including that can include Satan or anything, whatever you want, as long as you're not atheist. They won't accept you. Um, Anyway, I think I go off on these tangents, but
All good.
I started with the Satan dance, didn't I? What should I go on to
Yes.
next? We've got a few topics lingering. I just thought that's a little bit of a taste on what because no one's really watching today. I know we've got a couple of people there, but we've got Nord Stream pipeline, US foreign aid. Let's start with I want to start with a little video because this is interesting. Let's stop sharing that one. The Nord Stream pipeline. Let's have a look at this little
What's
video.
the latest with the Nord Stream pipeline? Is there news?
I don't know if there's really news on it. It's just like they're really starting to. I've been watching The Hill a lot. Like, I know people hate The Hill, but Robbie Suave is sort of growing on me. I don't know why. They're just Are these guys on mainstream TV?
I've never seen these people, but to be fair, I don't really watch mainstream TV.
Okay. Yeah, neither. I
the
don't
human
need to plug
cost
in.
on the military. I saw it reported that
Howard's shared some of their videos before, I think.
women into the military, and Max
Yeah.
Blumenthal posted a disturbing video earlier this week of new recruits who all looked to be men in their 50s and 60s. So it does look like there's been just an incredible human toll on the people of Ukraine who've been made to fight this proxy war. But I did want to turn to this new reporting about the Nord Stream pipeline. Last week, it was reported that Ukrainian military official Roman Chervinsky played a central role in the 2022 sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline. Now, according to the Washington Post, which first reported the revelation, he led a 6-person team to blow up the pipelines that carried natural gas from Russia to Germany. This isn't Ukraine's first foray into Russian assets, but the attack implicated civilian infrastructure, potentially disrupting energy, obviously, for millions of Europeans. You know, what do you make of this new reporting? How credibly, credulously should we be looking at it in light of the kind of wave of stories that we've seen coming out offering different explanations for who was responsible for Nord Stream?
Because I'll say I heard very early on in the piece that it was the United Kingdom under the direction of NATO that did it.
Interesting.
Now, is the UK even part of NATO?
I don't know about UK as a whole, but I know the individual countries are part of NATO, right? The whole UK thing confuses me as an American. Like,
Yeah.
some people they differentiate between England, Britain, like I don't know. I can't keep up with them. But
Yeah,
I
it
do
is in
remember.
NATO.
And so United Kingdom as a whole is part of NATO, not just individual
like it, yeah.
countries? Okay.
Well, the
But
UK
I do
is considered an individual country, is it not? You mean like Ireland is separate? Parts of it is
Right.
separate. And yeah.
Right, but nobody
And
says
then there's like,
England anymore. They say the UK. It's like, but it's still England.
yeah, I think those two are interchangeable, whereas no, I think Britain and England. I think Britain refers to the island. England also refers to the country, the nation state. United Kingdom refers to the kingdom that did once encompass a whole lot of other things, but it doesn't mean the Commonwealth, which still does encompass a whole lot of other things. Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? I'm not
Yeah,
sure what.
and I also with the whole Brexit thing, maybe that's what's confusing because I don't pay attention to a lot of
Right.
other countries going on, but I'm like, oh, Brexit, they left a thing, and I couldn't remember. So
The
apparently, it was
European Union.
right, the European Union.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Which was it's supposed to that the EU was supposed to be like a one block. It was, and it kind of still is, but like it's essentially this is the globalist push to become one world. The EU was the first, and then they were supposed to do the North Asian Union, and then the American Union,
and then
which was
eventually,
going to be
just
like,
one.
and then so right, and then it was going to be like 4 blocks operating together, but like essentially as one sort of monolith, and then eventually, yeah, like you say, that they'd moved those 4 blocks into one. It was just a consolidation of nation states.
Right.
Venezuela wants to invade a neighbor. They are voting on it soon. Keep in mind, China and Russia support the moves are being made. Venezuela. Which neighbor? Who are they next to? Venezuela. Who are they trying to invade? Like, who would they invade? Where we've got Guyana on one, and then Colombia on the other side, and then Brazil underneath. Probably Guyana. Anyway, that's that. What was I going to say? I didn't finish watching
Oh
this.
no,
By the way,
I'm
first thing.
sorry. But I was going to ask you. Sorry, before we continue the video, didn't
It's my fault I
Biden?
jump around.
No, it's all good. I'm flighty myself. So, didn't Biden though before the Nord Stream pipeline incident, didn't he also say that he would, or we would, or however he phrased it, they would take care of it? Has that been
He
scrubbed
said
from the internet?
I don't think it has
Like,
been. What
because
would I search for? I would search
Biden,
for
I vividly remember him saying something to the effect of that
will
we
be
would
no
handle
more.
it. Right.
Yeah, he was very what was the word? He was very ambiguous and vague,
But
but
it kind
he
of
was at
sounded
the same time
like,
not.
yeah.
I think he said something like Nord Stream will be no more. Here we go, Biden. This is in February 22. I found.
Mm.
Here we go, February 2022. This one looks like it. Present, share screen. I think this is him saying it.
That means
Yeah, hold on. I'll go to the start.
if Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
There it is.
We will bring an end to it. We will bring it.
How will you do that
How will we do that?
exactly? Since the
Says it
project
will happen.
and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
We'll be able to do it. I just promise. It's a promise, and he kept it. He kept that
Yeah.
promise,
Yeah.
and then blamed
And
it on
weren't
they
there,
blamed
like-
it on Russia first.
Yeah, but there were also like U.S. military special ops training exercises or whatever happening in the area at the same time. It's like,
Yeah, because they're. I mean, this is how they have like
Okay.
plausible deniability on everything that happens, right? Because they've just got bases all over the planet, and like, oh, we were training. We're doing some
course.
sort of training
Totally
there at the
separate.
time. Yeah, totally separate.
Clown world. Clown world.
Fucking. But so that's Biden. What was I? Oh yeah,
Oh, we were
this
gonna watch
thing. That's right.
the rest of that video. Sorry.
I think it was boring though. Like we basically get the point. It's sort of they're blaming Ukraine at the moment. Pretty much is the deal.
Don't believe anything the government says. It makes up whatever is convenient. And so there's absolutely no
This is from the
credibility
lefty.
to pinning it on one person who happens to be under wraps and in custody in Ukraine. So I'm still going with Seymour Hersh till I hear otherwise. But who knows? I testified in the UN Security Council on a session calling for an independent UN-led investigation. Who blocked it? The United States
US.
government. So,
There you go.
a leak in the post. Come on. Of course, what do we know?
We love us.
But what we do know, even from that leak, CIA now tells us, oh, we knew all about this and we even warned them against it. Whereas others say, the CIA trained this guy. Whereas others say this is yet another cover story because the one that Seymour Hersh talked about is the real story. I don't know.
So I think Seymour Hersh is the one that's pointing to the United States and NATO doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually fully familiar with his reporting, but it sounds like that's what he's alluding to.
Sure.
That's what I would anyway. Let's have a look at foreign aid since 2001. It's been what I should do is just keep sharing that same screen, and then just change the links in it. This is a little thing I found on US foreign aid between 2000, and I don't know how accurate it is because even by 2023, this number here on Ukraine only reaches 30 billion. But they've done this little every single one of these dots represents $100,000 since 2001. Let's have a look. Which is all this foreign aid money, and so you can see these big thick bands coming into Egypt, Israel.
Oh, my taxes. Ouch.
There's your taxes, and look at all this. This is all going into
Bye-bye.
Iraq. I mean, it's funny because it looks like an oil spurt, which it should be going the other
Yeah.
way.
I don't know. That map needs
But
to calm
now,
down. It looks like a juicy
Afghanistan-
booty on the right hand side there. Just saying.
It does, doesn't it? And then you'll see Ukraine here is a really thin little line. It's a really thin line until it gets towards the end. You see someone just got cut off funding in Iraq. Oh, a little bit more for Iraq.
Oh.
And a bit more.
Oh, a little burst there.
And we'll cut them off again. Afghanistan's pumping away like soldiers over here. Bad word to use. And then shortly we'll come up to... Here we go. Big fat band of
Oh,
there's not, it's just
wow.
opaque. Yeah. Like
Oh,
that's
that.
and it only what by the as of this little figure, it says $30 billion, but that's like,
Huh.
isn't it
Weird.
over 160?
I stopped keeping track. It's ridiculous. But
Well, if you compare that to, I don't know,
let's
like
see.
yeah. Well, this says U.S. foreign assistance disbursements from the U.S. to top recipient country. So it might be a certain type of payment as opposed to like munitions and stuff. I don't know. Because it says, what have we got? Afghanistan 132 billion, Israel 82 billion, Iraq 80 billion, Egypt 42, Ukraine 30. Yeah, I don't know. Like I know BlackRock's just signed $1 trillion deal to rebuild Ukraine, so that's fun.
Nothing weird
What else
about
have we
that.
got? I thought none of these things are really tied together. I need to work on the actual presentation of things, like a story. I should go like, this is number one. Should talk about this, then go into that. I'm working on it. Oh, this is something that's really fucked up. Ireland is bringing in brand new hate speech laws. Now, this is super.
Ooh.
This is
The
super brave
Ministry
new
of
world.
Truth.
Kind of, but yeah. So, in a press release last year, Ireland's Department of Justice argued that the previous hate speech laws was ineffective because it didn't allow them to prosecute enough people. The new bill they wrote is designed to be more effective in securing convictions. So it's all about just getting the arrests up, as opposed
do
to
they
actually
not
getting
have
rid of any hate.
Right. So, how do they have the police resources, the manpower, all the things? Do they not have enough actual crimes to go after to, assign these law enforcement officers chasing people saying things that hurt other people's feelings? Like, do they not have enough to worry about that actually matters? Like, assault, murder, all the things, right? Like, how is this become one of their top priorities about offending a very small percentage, like a fraction of a percent of the population, right? Oh,
Well, it's
we
very
encourage you to rat out your people and your family, and if they say things that are hurtful to people that
100%.
aren't even listening to it, that have not heard it,
Yep.
but if you hear it, like the kids in 1984, they were little snitches.
Yep.
They were telling on people that were detractors that weren't falling in line.
You saw it in
They
communist
used-
China.
They used the children, right? And this is dystopian future time, right? George Orwell.
Yeah.
It's now. They're saying for the greater good. Go fuck
For the greater
yourself,
good, and
greater good. Who's greater good?
Like in Brave New World, all of the and same as 1984, all of the literature was banned because it was like they had to bring it. And Newspeak was a Orwell thing. Orwell, I think that was in 1984, wasn't it? Newspeak.
Yep.
So Newspeak was this new language where they extracted all of the offensive words, all the words that go against the. Hey, we've got Mr. Scott here. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Scott. And
But
with the Newspeak thing, they're also, and this is a parallel with what we're seeing now. Like, you see a lot of videos, right, where somebody's interviewing, asking, like, how many states do we have? And they give the wrong answer. They're talking to college kids on campus, asking them basic math, basic questions. Nobody knows. And these are supposed to be
Are they at least saying 50? Like, or are they saying 51, 52? Or are they getting close?
They're like 40. Like, they're
Oh,
way
no,
off.
that's never
They
been
don't know
that.
how to tell time on a manual clock with the little shorthand, longhand. They're removing those from schools. So we're seeing this
They don't know how
dumbing
to
down.
answer a phone with a handset. They don't know how
They
to
don't know
pick
what
it up
this means.
or end the call. Yeah.
But it's like they're intentionally dumbing down the populace, right? So like with Newspeak,
Yep.
you were eliminating words. It's not just offensive words. You were dumbing them down, like plus good, double plus
Right.
good. It
Right.
seems like a systematic dumbing down, also removing things that might be hurtful or harmful to a narrative or an agenda or whatever. Fine, they do that too. But they're also just dumbing everybody down, and they're bringing
So according
down.
to who is it hurtful?
Exactly. But
There's
they
a
don't have to say.
there is a law. There is a law, unwritten law somewhere. It's an ideology that's being pushed from the top, and it seems to be, I don't know what to call it other than globalism or
Mm.
new world orderism or
Mm.
some insert catchphrase.
Gross.
I don't know what you call it, but it was certainly predicted. It's not like this is a new idea. Like they've been talking about this in books since the 30s. So
But that's
it's
what you see
like,
the memes of now, right? It's like 1984 wasn't supposed to be an instruction manual. Like it was supposed to be a warning,
yeah,
things to
yeah.
look out for, the trends going this way. Don't do that. It's bad. It's not supposed to be an instruction manual, people. Come on.
I like
Oh,
this cursive as a code to them. Do you
that's
remember
another thing.
learning? Do you remember learning
Yeah.
Victorian modern cursive in school and then getting your pen? Like you used to only be allowed to draw with write with a pencils, sorry, and then you could get like what they called a pen license after that, and then you were allowed to write with a pen. It was a
What?
whole initiation into drawing. So like when we're in junior primary school, they would like
What's the age range for
the
junior primary?
so grade like 1, 2, 3. So the same as you guys, I would
Like
assume.
6 to
Like
8
how old
ish?
is that? Yeah.
Okay.
That sort of age. The standard is to write everything in pencil because it can be erased easily, and young children specifically are prone to making frequent mistakes. So it's just it makes sense
Fail
that
your
you do everything in
children.
pencil, right? It's
Needing
just a bit, you're
erasers.
allowing a bit more of a allowing a bit more buffer around them because they're in a learning environment. And then
Sure.
what they do is they introduce these rules slowly but surely. They become more rigid with it. You're not allowed to make as many mistakes, and then you do what they like as you learn, as they teach you Victorian cursive. They will do these tests, and if you pass the test and get it in, like you don't fuck it up enough, they'll give you a pen license, which allows you then from there on to write everything with a pen, and you can be
Is
ahead of other students in the class. It
the
becomes
pen
like a
license
incentive.
is that restricted to, I mean, that's in class, right?
Restricted
You get a
that
license.
child. Yeah, but
So
so in
do you get a little
our
card?
in our primary schools, yeah, there's like a
You
little.
do?
Well, it's written down. It's written down because there was no like there's one teacher for the same class the whole day,
Mhm.
every day, instead of changing like they do in high school. I'm not sure if it's like
Yeah.
that in elementary and in the
No,
USA,
elementary,
but
you have
like
one teacher here anyway.
okay, yeah. Whereas in high school is where they switch it up and start giving you a different teacher every hour because that's a little bit
Yeah.
more like real life sort of thing. My handwriting is already a code to most people. It's on par with how docs. Right? Yeah, same. You know what? That's
I
because of all the fucking phones. I
I
can't write properly
my
anymore without getting a hand.
I
Like
know.
it
My
aches.
handwriting, I've thought about this many times. I thought like, wow, if a handwriting analysis technician or expert were to look at my writings, I look like a freaking psychopath because it's all over the place.
Same.
It's so inconsistent. I have some things that stay the same, but especially if I'm in a hurry, I can barely read that shit. Like, but it looks
We're losing the
crazy.
art yeah, we're losing the art of handwriting within
Mhm.
like 2 generations.
People, young
Not even
people
that,
don't
like
even know how to
one.
have a signature anymore because it's handwriting,
Right,
right? They just
right.
print them out, cube style,
I remember practicing for years trying to get my signature right.
perfecting the signature,
Yeah.
trying out different
Well, when I was a
variations of
kid.
the letters. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a child, I'm like, because I want to be fancy when I grow up. Like now, it's just like the easiest thing that comes to me. But we will lose this art in the next generation or two. It'll be gone. It'll be foreign
Sure.
to us. And when things go dark, we'll be fucked. No one will be able to pass messages to each other other than orally because they
Oh,
won't.
when Skynet is in full effect, you know.
Right, exactly. So the new legislation addresses hate speech and hate crime that has been recognized for many years. The Prohibition of Incitement to Hatred Act of 1989 has been widely considered as ineffective, with only 50 prosecutions in more than 30 years since it was enacted. Well, that should be a good thing, but it's not apparently.
Sure.
The 1989 Act is being replaced and replaced with a new, repealed and replaced with the new simpler provisions designed to be more effective in securing convictions. The protected characteristics in the new legislation are race, color, nationality, religion, national ethnic origin, descent, gender, sex. These are the 2 main ones that are going to be gender, sex characteristics, sexual orientation, and disability.
Oh,
Gender.
God. So we need
Gender.
to expand the law so we can arrest more people or prosecute more
Gender.
people.
Yeah, and this is the biggest, like, this one here is the biggest umbrella term ever. And now that they've introduced these terms, like, that's what queer means. That's what it means. Yeah, people there might be a bit that if you go to pinknews.com, I'm sure they've got a different definition. But what it really means in reality is it's an umbrella term so that if you're not already questioning or confused, they can still get you in the cult. They can get heterosexual people into the cult and convince them that they're not heterosexual. That's what queer is. Because you can ask plenty of queer people that have
It's a
heterosexual
confusing
sexual.
term, right? It's an intentional
Yeah.
confusing of the population, especially when you have
100%.
so many more people. I wouldn't say identifying, but maybe being more diagnosed or more cases rather of, say, autism, right? Neurodivergent people that miss out on social cues. So if they're confused in any way, this type of language and this agenda that they're pushing preys on those people. And they're like, oh, I guess
Yeah.
I'm queer. I guess I'm this. I guess I'm non-binary. I guess I'm
100%.
trans. It's like,
That's why there's
it's
such
disgusting.
a high degree of, yeah, it's really sad. It's very, very sad. Like, I mean, I'm gay, but I wasn't obvious. I haven't really been obvious my whole life. But if I was growing up now, they would certainly like try and swoop me in and try and convince me I'm a girl. I mean, look at me, I got long hair.
You got the pretty hair.
Yeah, but they would definitely try and do it. I mean, it wouldn't matter. They would try now that I'm 34. I mean, there's 34-year-old people doing this. Hey, 1,000. Did we see you already? We saw you here before, didn't we? I think you were here before.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Get a job. You are get a job you are underqualified for that pays a salary of 7 figures. Decorate your desk with pics of your wife, aka blow up doll, and get fired for your sexuality. That sounds kind of plausible these days. That could easily happen these days. You could just talk your way in by saying you're queer.
Yeah. But how
'Cause
is that a sexuality? Queer. Or because LGBT
Well, this is why they came up with these weird, confusing flowcharts where they take gender identity, sexuality, and gender expression, and they separate them and
Smash
say
it all
that they're
together.
not. No, they separate them and say they're independent from one another when they're not.
Oh.
They're not. Like, your sexual orientation is in some way linked to your your identity as a man or a woman, and your attraction to other men.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what it used to be when I was growing up. It was
now
it
they're
was always
teaching everyone that it's
confusing to
completely
me.
separate.
Right. But growing up, I was even confused at why there was lesbian and gay, because it means gay is the same thing, right? You're attracted to the same.
And that was acceptable. That was still acceptable to say up until like 2005 or whatever, around about that time. Like, gay women would call themselves gay.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore. That's like a fucking swear word. Like, they'll call themselves queer, if anything.
But it's a generational thing, though, right? Because I mean, there's
Have you
people
heard
that
of a
are like my
transbian?
age. What?
Seen what a transbian looks like?
Transbian?
Oh, do I have to-
I can put
Yeah.
it together, but
Maybe I shouldn't show it. It's probably
show it.
It's probably ban worthy. I don't know if I'll find it now. I probably won't find it. I'll be sitting here like scrolling forever, and you'll be, oh no, I found it.
Oh no.
Here it is. Oh no. Sorry guys, but you get to look because Jess said. Thank you for accepting into this group. I'm a 58-year-old disabled army veteran, mother of an 11-year-old non-binary child. What a fucking chance that is. And I have an incredible partner who is also transbian. Look at the hairline on this beauty.
Oof. I
Isn't
mean,
it gorgeous?
I am not a supporter of bangs, but some people need them. I have a big forehead.
She needs to use Michelle Obama.
I am not maybe a 5 head. I'm a solid 4 though. But
What is that
that
but that's down to genetics, right? You're not losing anything.
no,
You've got a
I don't have
perfect head of
receding
hair.
hairline. I have a big forehead though. Like you can like flash a projector on this thing and
I
watch
think I
movies.
do as well. Mine's pretty big. Mine's 5 fingers.
I was
And
told
then
that
it
as a
goes back
kid
a bit.
though. I was told that as a child. My mom, you need bangs. Your forehead's too big.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
see, they actually let us know this shit as children. They start gentle, but then as you get older, other people say you look fugly, cunt. It gets more and more brutal. And then this is bullying sort of shapes us into, hey, making law simple. How you doing? I'm not sure if I've seen you here before.
hey, it's
Oh, you come
David.
here for Jess. Jess, what else is receding?
He's my favorite attorney on YouTube.
Great. Nice
He's
to have
great.
you here. We're just this is a bit of a messy show because I didn't plan anything probably, but we
It's a
were
messy
before
show
this
because I'm
lovely
here.
lady here on screen. Or this lovely, I shouldn't say yeah. It's because Jess is here and I'm all flustered.
Oh,
Um,
get out
we
of
were
here.
talking about the hate speech laws in Ireland, and I have a little video on it. They're kind of it's pretty crazy. Oh, add it to stage.
Well, hate
See
speech
how
laws in
professional this is?
Ireland have been enforced in apocalyptic ways. The fact that they exist in this way in the first place is terrifying enough. Politicians are warning it will get worse because they can't handle anyone being uncomfortable. This is a great example of multi-stakeholder law enforcement. We spoke about this yesterday when we spoke about the new UNESCO internet censorship. So we have an expert here from Ireland to break it down. Ivor Cummings is joining us. He's a biochemical
Cummings.
engineer and a corporate complex problem solving
Oh my.
expert. He does a great job on his
What about-
YouTube channel,
Yeah.
on
Is she
his Twitter
cosplaying as a
channel. You
bee?
can look
Name
for
that
it
is.
yourself by just
She
putting
kind
in
of has
his
like
name.
a bee voice too.
You're getting Bumblebee vibes as well?
Bumblebee vibes, and she has like the me voice, like the whole aesthetic.
Just does a little bit, yeah. Do you
Just
are you
needs a little
familiar with this show,
antenna.
Redacted?
I've seen clips
It's
of it on Taz.
she's a lot more sensible than her husband, Clayton Morris. Clayton goes, I like it. It's got great news and stuff, but he harps on about aliens and stuff too much, which is just nonsense. I'm into UFOs and shit too, but I'm into reality as well.
Yeah.
And I actually have something on that later, but we're an hour in, so
A lot of times,
can bail
what I
whenever.
appreciate, I just want to say thank
We
you for
didn't get into
coming.
anything.
One
I'm
of the
good for
things I
another 30.
appreciate about the
Okay.
way you break down these
Cool.
problems is you're trying to address the fact that it seems crazy. People are talking about it as if it's crazy, but we're living it now. So can you just tell us, what are these hate speech laws in Ireland? How did we get here?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Natalie. Well, it's an extraordinary story because we have hate speech laws
That
that have
emperor.
served excellently well since the 80s. And they've been used, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 times, is my understanding. And they specifically get you, if you will, for inciting hatred, inciting violence against minorities, whatever. And they work perfectly well.
Perfectly.
But recently, I've often said Ireland is kind of a subsidiary.
No, he's talking about he's talking about the ones that are in place already, not the ones that they're about to bring in. They work perfectly
Oh.
well. The rate of 50,
Like they were
50 convictions
fine.
is more than enough.
What?
They're otherwise been caught by existing laws. If you're hateful towards someone and you're going to play that out, you're inevitably going to breach a law somewhere that's already existing. So this is really cognitive crime. This is about cognitive crime, pre-crime. They're policing your thoughts. These laws,
Thought police, thought crime. Yeah.
yeah, because these laws state that now that you don't even need to have, say if you've got memes and stuff on your phone and you haven't shared it anywhere, if it's offensive and they find it, that is now an offense under this hate crime
That's
act.
so freaking
Also,
stupid.
refusing to give your PIN number of the device is also considered a crime under the act. So being in possession of it on your phone. So if I send it to you now,
Right.
unsolicited, if I send you a message on your phone unsolicited, of some sort of meme that some transby finds like really offensive,
Mm-hmm.
You by
But
the mere act of having it on your phone, even if it's only for 5 minutes, you're guilty now.
even if no said person of whatever they are, were to ever even know that it existed, the fact that it had
Correct.
existed at all is a crime. Do they
Yep.
not have murders in these countries? Do they not have assaults? Do they not have pedos? Do
Heaps.
they not have
Plenty.
anything else to worry about? Because this is asinine to me. This is totally asinine because you have. How about you just
By design.
reassign those fellows back to the cold case files for actual crimes? Because applying hate crime, hate speech, no, it's just crime. It's just speech. It's already a crime if it's a crime. I don't feel like there should be any sort of like enhancements or whatever toward hate crimes. It's still just a crime. It's already illegal. Can you just be
You see
normal?
what the problem that I see. I mean, I agree with you, but the problem that we have here, the problem that they have with the existing laws is that it doesn't capture just anyone that they want. They need it to be written in such a way so that they can go after whoever they want, whenever they want. It is worded in such a way. That's not the button I meant to press. Not that one.
So
That
would you
one.
say aloud, because I kind of am of a similar mindset, it's not actually because they care about these people. It is just
Oh, no
widening.
way.
It's just widening their reach, getting, like you were just saying, they can go after people, right? If they want to. Not saying they are going to go after everybody, but if they choose to, they have the freedom to do so if they widen the reach of the laws and
I
their
mean, I've got
ability
no
to
evidence.
prosecute people.
I've seen no evidence anywhere in the last forever that any of these radical movements have ever been in the effort to help these people. No way. It's just been the most toxic
They
and
wave the
hurtful and
banners and they
damaging
wave the
things for them.
yeah, but they do it
I mean,
under
I
the
know
guise or
there's
the
yeah, they do it under the vanguard of being, like fucking
virtue
what is it?
signaling,
Tolerant and loving and brave, but they're very hateful
progressive.
people.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
horrible.
Um,
So
they want
okay,
Europe. They want the
go
natives
ahead.
of Europe gone and to bring it into better slaves, just so bring them. Yeah. They're turning us into the slaves.
Of Big
Mm-hmm.
Pharma, or nowadays the WEF, we're kind of a slave nation. So all of our politicians over many decades have increasingly run off to Brussels in the EU, the European Union, and they're clearly taking their orders mostly from above. And that's where this is coming from, of course. So the new law is astonishing. Most people have not actually read the draft of the law. And I have,
Never
and
happens.
even I was stunned. And it's hard to be stunned after the last few years with the COVID madness, clearly. But I must say I was stunned.
Here
So
it goes
just
into
in
it a bit.
short, a couple of things. They actually now have around 8 to 10 kind of protected groups, if you will. It's just written down by the government, and it includes transgender kind of stuff, and of course racial stuff, and the traveling community, kind of a gypsy type community in Ireland,
So they're
etc.
homeless now.
If you have anything in your possession,
That's a
If I
slur
can
in
just
my
translate for
country.
everyone, that means fucking homeless people on the street. Okay. Sorry, Jess.
No, that is a slur in my country. That is, you cannot say gypsy.
What, gypsy?
Hmm.
Yeah, but watermelon and grapes and hot sauce is a slur in your country.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fucking
So here you're supposed to say Romani. They're not gypsies because that has negative connotations.
Romani.
Romani.
Well, I've never heard that term. What is it?
Really? Romani. Let's see.
Romani. Yeah, I haven't heard that term because we're still relatively normal here, and just
Yeah,
call them homeless,
in some ways.
like because they
Just call
are.
them homeless.
It's fairly a descriptive, apt term we found.
Yeah, Romani.
They seem to use it as well.
R-O-M-A-N-I
Sorry?
people. Romani people.
R-O-M. Okay.
R-O-M-A-N-I. Romani.
Romani.
Mhm.
Romani. Yeah.
Yep.
Where does that come from? What's that derived from? Is that English?
Let's see.
Who came up with that?
God damn it.
The LGBT thing?
It started.
Doesn't matter.
It was before all of this alphabet people stuff. It was probably okay. So I was in massage school in 2002, and there was a guy who was a gypsy but he's like, no, we're Romani. You can't say gypsy anymore. It's like, okay.
Oh,
He had a
you're
he had
classy
a
homeless.
bull nose piercing, like, but it was like a thing of pride to be like, I'm Romani. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's because it's an identity now, isn't it? And like, I
Everything's an
actually have a
identity.
little thing on that. I'll just wait for this guy to describe this thing a little bit.
Anywhere,
Okay, sorry.
computer, phone, written, in your
So, just
possession,
go back for a second.
community in Ireland, etc. If you have anything in your possession, anywhere, computer, phone, written, in your possession, it only takes one policeman now, not the commissioner like before. The commissioner had to get a warrant. Now, one policeman, if he gets a report, doesn't like you, whatever, they can come to your house, demand all of your equipment, anything they want, search your house, on the word of one policeman. It's astonishing. If they have
One
anything with a
policeman.
PIN code, it is also written as an offence to not supply the PIN code. So this is guilty until proven
search
innocent.
warrant.
It's
Yes.
quite astonishing.
No need. One policeman
And
now
so
just doesn't have to
could
like
that
you.
include, let's say, the
police
little
never
boy in
lie.
Massachusetts who was in
Right, they never lie because they're the most
Never.
upstanding citizens ever, and because we
Oh,
know
yeah.
that from our history and records.
Cream of
trouble
the
for
crop.
wearing a T-shirt that said there are only two genders. So
kidding, by the
anything
way.
that you're displaying outwardly would also be an offense, do you think?
Well, right now they would claim that, oh, no, that's not inciting, potential harm to someone particularly. But the whole thing about this is you do not need to actually share the material for
There you
it to
go.
be a crime. So it's literally Minority Report. It's thought crime. If you have
I
That's all we
saved a
need to
meme
hear,
to my
mate.
phone because I thought it was funny. That is the crime. Me saving it.
Yeah, no, in Ireland, that is now, well, it will very shortly be a crime, the act of saving it onto your phone. It may
the
even
greater
be
good.
soon the act of looking at it. Like in, in Brave New World, how they're very discouraged from like saying mother or thinking about love or anything like that. It will soon be a crime to even look at it.
But
So
it
this would be
exists.
like watching.
Like it's already out
Yeah,
there.
but so does stuff like child porn and stuff like that. Like CP exists, and like you would
okay.
bust someone for that, but they're treating this as if it's the same now, pretty much.
Okay, so say
Um,
I am the true crime demographic, right? I am the late 30s wine mom, all the things, right? I consume a lot of true crime. So because I watch stories about true crime, I'm basically a murderess now. I mean, pretty much.
I mean, you could. I mean, if I can't, I can easily imagine that happening. I mean, this is Ireland. Like, they're a test bed country because they're like 5 million people. They're very similar to New Zealand. It's a perfect number of people to test out programs on for whatever reason. It's I don't know the exact, but like it's the right populace size to test public programs on, because it for whatever reason that number brings in the results quicker and it gives you a decent enough sample size and all that sort of thing. So
Okay.
you'll find it happening a lot in New Zealand as well, where they've got a similar populace. They're trialing everything
They
there
pulled a
first.
lot of shenanigans with the COVID stuff, right? Experimenting with policies
Yeah.
and how much people are willing to
Yeah.
tolerate. So yeah, I can see that.
So that was all just sort of like prep work for all of these things that are coming in now. But we did mention the what did we call them? The Romanis?
The Romani. The
Fucking
Romani.
homeless?
But do
Romanis?
you think though, because the Irish people and what we've seen in the last week or so, right? Torching migrant housing, torching all the things, is there going to be a point where people en masse push back? They've experimented with COVID stuff like in New Zealand, how much people will tolerate the migrant situation and the lack of police support for certain cases and crimes that are happening because their policies are fucked. The people are pissed off. So I wonder what the case study will be going forward, because I know this Ministry of Truth and the greater good bullshit that they're spouting or spewing out this past week as far as what they want to do as far as these thought crime laws. To what point? Because everyone generally, a nice population wants to be nice, right? how long before they stop being nice? We just saw it in Ireland, right? But how much further will that extend? The niceties are, I don't know, hopefully coming to an end at some point. So how much further are they going to push it? Government, all the things, to where the people just go, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
From what I can see, I mean, I live in Australia, so everyone loves their government here.
Ew.
We've never been suspicious. Yeah, the people of Australia have never
bacon
been
farm,
suspicious
seriously.
of. See, it's written. It's sort of it's entwined in the American spirit. It goes all the way back to 1776. It's like we're gonna fucking shoot you if you become a crazy like oppressive government.
We're not doing that. We left that, right? That was the mindset. We left this bullshit.
So from the very get-go, you guys, it was in the spirit of, and that's why I love America so much, because it's just within your nature. It's just America. I do. I get, and people make fun of me. I don't give a shit. Like it's true. But and like here in Australia, everyone loves it and trusts their government so much that
garbage.
Hey Joe, I haven't seen you here before. Welcome. The United States is definitely an untrusting nation, and I think they should remain that way. However, places like here in Europe, we were all too ready and willing to take whatever measures they throw at us. Like people are still wearing masks and still doing all that crap. Like they said, I know a lot of people say I'm not doing that again, but I saw how quickly they did it before with zero resistance. And I mean zero resistance to the point of actually encouraging everyone around them to do the exact same shit.
And if you don't, it's not just about encouraging, right? It was villainizing the people that weren't on board. It got crazy here.
I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
Right.
They won't. I know of families that are broken up and still to this day will not talk because of the vaccines, which don't matter anymore.
Oh, how'd that turn out for everybody?
Yeah, because we all never got COVID, right? Because it was super effective, wasn't it? Oh, wait. Do they mask alone in the car? Yeah, everywhere around here they do that. I mean, it has dropped off in Sydney a bit because we've got a bit more of an attitude, but like Melbourne, man, they're like, Melbourne is Australia's California, like Australia's LA.
I live in California, but I am fortunately, okay, this may be something you don't know about California. So we have like 2 or 3 major cities in California, right? We've got San Francisco, which is the Bay Area, and a whole bunch of other cities that are clumped together there. So you say the Bay Area, Los Angeles,
and then LA,
and then like San Diego, like maybe San
right
Diego.
At the bottom.
I think San Diego's
that's
right
the one at the bottom, isn't it? Near Tijuana.
Yeah. It's near the border. Outside of those cities, there's a whole lot of boring farmland from here to the Bay Area. Right in between Los Angeles to San Francisco, Sacramento, the northern areas, it's a farmland. I mean, you've got dairy farms, you've got almond orchards, you've got citrus, you've got all the things. Those areas are not blue. They're very much Republican. It's just the cities that fuck us over constantly. But
and they're in charge. And like, I mean, well,
we're not
LA
all weirdos.
people just. No, but like in terms of majority, yeah, you are. Like there's like in LA City, like in the metropolitan area of Los Angeles, there's more people there than there is in the entire of my country. Like there's more than 26 million people there, and that's all that lives in this entire country. Right? And it's like, okay, so you've got them against a few farmers. The farmers basically don't exist. You don't exist. Anyone who's not in that, you just, in numbers, you just don't exist. You don't even show up as a...
No.
Even though, like, this geographic area, like, you see it, there's only these blue strongholds everywhere. But then you look at the electoral map and everything is just, like, red. It's like, how is the whole country not Republican? It's like, because all the people live in these blue areas. So
but that's kind of a stupid thing, right? I mean, not kind of. It is a stupid thing because the people that are in those other areas make the lives possible for those weirdos in the cities. Like you wouldn't.
Of course, but they'll never
food.
understand
You
that.
wouldn't have.
They'll never
No, I
understand it. They think it
know.
comes
It's
to like in
awful.
Brave New World. They think it comes out of plastic. It drops from the sky. They have never asked the question. And when because like people in the country, we grow up, we ask questions. We see cows and sheep and animals and shit. We're like, what? Why? Why have they got so many pets? And then they tell us,
no.
oh well, they're not pets. They're not pets. And then we
Sorry.
have to go through that whole awkward thing of like, oh, they're not going to be alive next week. We're eating them. And it's like, that's your dinner. We eat them all the time. And it's like, and then it's sort of, but you in the country, you go through that stuff. You see the stars, you see the Milky Way. It's actually visible. Like you ask questions. But in the city, when everything comes in a package, I've met people that have never seen a cow. They've never seen stars. And they're
think
like
it just
40
comes
years
out
old.
in a steak form at the grocery store.
They've only seen it on. They've admitted to me that they've never seen a cow in their real life. They've only seen it on the television, and they're aware that milk comes from there, but they've never seen it happen.
That's weird. They don't know it comes from
Yeah.
a cow's tit. Like
They know, they believe it as a matter of belief, but they don't. They've never seen it happen. They've never actually seen a cow in person. So I'm like, how the
So,
fuck have you made it to 40?
do you have any sort of programs like in high school or middle school or whatever, like 4-H or FFA, which is Future Farmers of America? I don't know if you have anything comparable to that.
Yeah, there's like trade schools that in the country they're more like, so in the city they won't have them so much, but in
No,
the
no, no.
in the
I'm
rural area
talking
where there is farmland.
in conjunction with a school, like any school. You have a program within the school or adjacent to it. It's not a separate trade school. It's part of the curriculum.
Okay.
So I had agriculture as a class in high school. I raised a heifer, and I chose a heifer
Right.
because I didn't want my animal to go to slaughter. I was a little softy about it.
Yeah.
So you raise
But
an
I mean,
animal
most people are at
up
some
to a
point.
year. So you raise an animal up to a year or so. You learn to feed them, to groom them, clean up their shit, get kicked by them, take them on walks, make them super healthy, because the ultimate goal is to sell them at auction at the county fair. Right?
Right.
So you learn how to show the animals like as if at auction. So what
That's
I think
very
is great,
hands-on.
yes,
That's great, actually. We don't know. I can't
it's a great
I can't
program.
think of anything like that here. I don't actually think there is anything like that here, but it could have changed. I haven't been in school for a
Mhm.
long time, so. But generally, those things were relegated to those those special schools,
Like
and it was
specific.
usually people that weren't
Oh.
excelling at maths and stuff. It was usually dumb kids.
Like
Which
okay,
is
like have like
unfortunate.
the stereotypes like with like shop kids, right? Like they go to shop because they're not
Yep.
the smart kids, but
But they
it does
failed
take
in
a lot of
everything else.
engineering,
Yeah,
right?
of
It's a
course.
different
It's
type
just
of
not
brain.
this. It's a different type of smart that they don't measure in schools properly.
Mr.
They don't
Scott,
measure it
so
properly.
Mr. Scott says waifu was a heifer groomer. I don't know what to say. Hey, I won
Well,
2
you
belt
heard it here.
buckles that year.
Well, there you go. Fuck you, Mr. Scott. No, we love you,
Yep.
man. You're all good.
I love Mr. Scott.
But
He's great.
speaking of California, where am I? I need to be on this screen here. No, that's not the right one. This one. This is just a quick clip from the Sean Ryan show where they talk about
I'd never ask for any
this music probably won't be copyrighted.
my heart and I agree
It'd be too old.
on what a wish should be. One miracle would do, the miracle
Maybe I should talk over it,
it.
just in case it is.
What percentage of the state is homeless?
Around 100,000.
100,000 homeless?
Yeah, around 100,000.
Here's the deal.
That's
California.
That Michael Schellenberger blocked me on Twitter for whatever reason, by the way. I don't know why. I know
What
he's a
did you
super
do?
lefty, so it might be something to do with it. But like, he
Yeah.
blocked me and he won't unblock me. I don't know why. Anyway,
That's
what are
a
you
shame.
saying, Jess?
No, I was saying they said they estimate 100,000 homeless, and I'm like, that seems low.
It does seem low, but when you think about there's only 100,000 homeless people in all of Australia, the whole country. That's our number for our whole country. You've got that in your one city. So it makes sense because we're about the
Oh, it
same
was the
populace
city?
as
I thought it
well.
was the state.
Did he say LA or
What
California?
percentage of the state is homeless?
Oh, the state.
That seems
Around
low.
100,000 homeless?
Yeah, around 100,000.
So that's coming from
That's-
Schellenberger, and he's sitting back next to his book called San Francisco. But that's about the whole state, isn't it? It's not really about just San Francisco. But he would know. He looked into it. 100,000 in a group of 26 million people does seem that's actually on par with Australia.
Percentage-wise?
So it does seem really low. I don't actually know if I believe that number.
I don't believe that number.
I would have thought it would be
I've
into the
worked
millions.
I worked in Berkeley. I was there. I saw hundreds of people just on the block, like beyond my office, living homeless. We're
Yeah.
not allowed to say homeless anymore either. Did you know that? It's not
What do
PC
you
enough.
call them? What's the word for that now?
Unhoused.
Oh, fuck off. That's gross.
Not even
I'd
kidding.
rather be homeless than unhoused. Feels like being
Well,
undressed.
No, but you hear the implication, right? So unhoused means like nobody's providing homes for them.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
sounds like
yeah.
it's built into the cake, right? Because homeless, just you don't have a home.
Very good.
You're less a home. But unhoused means it's somebody else's problem to provide for you. It's part of
Yeah,
that
that's-
mental manipulation with changing the definitions of words and changing the words.
Fucking with words. The newspeak. The newspeak is definitely a thing. People think these minor changes in words don't mean anything. I promise you they do. I know people
They
like my
do.
uncle. He bought he got me to find it because he couldn't use the internet properly. He was scared of using the internet. He's a bit like Tate Kaczynski.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm a bit concerned about that guy. Anyway, he got me to buy the very latest legal dictionary I could find, the most complete one. So I went to like Black's
Yeah.
Law or something, and I got that one. It's like $350, and then I found like a 200-year-old one from Arizona somewhere, and I bought that. That was also about $350.
Oh,
So I
wow.
got both of them and for him, but just because he wanted to go through the legal dictionaries and just see the differences in over 200 years. And I bet, you'll never get into it with him, but I bet that there is like so much that's in there that doesn't exist anymore. Like whole entire words wouldn't even exist anymore.
What about the word violence? That in the last few years has changed, right? Silence is violence. Verbal abuse is violence.
Words of violence, silence is violence.
Words are
Yeah, you're
violence.
absolutely right.
But
Yeah.
I went to Edym online because I love the root words and like origins of words and language
I
and
love,
stuff.
etymology is great. It's
And
fascinating.
I looked this one up today because I did see a post about, and this is way off topic, but talking about violence, quote unquote violence, as far as like assault, catcalling is violence. Some guy whistling at you on
Sexual
the street,
violence, is
that's
it?
violence now.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But the
And 'cause
word
you know what?
itself means something.
Right. It does. The thing is, once you start attributing, once you start stretching it out to cover these other little meaningless things, it's then now people can respond with any other form of violence in response to it because they're
They
like,
can
well, violence
retaliate.
calls for violence, so they can retaliate with physical violence if they want, because to them it's equivalent to a catcall. So
Ugh.
they're like, if you catcall me, it's like punching me in the face. I might as well punch
Then
you
I
in the
get to
face. Like
shoot
that's what
you,
the
punch you, hit
Yeah,
you,
all of
take
that
out
sort of stuff.
actual violence on you because you aggressed me with your whistle,
Yeah.
your words. Did you grow up with the phrase "sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never
They
hurt
break
me"?
my bones, but names will never hurt me. Yeah,
Right. That
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago, but now
it's
words
repeated
are
to us like
violence.
religiously.
Yes.
Like anytime we get into like name calling at school, it was the first thing they'd come up with. They'd be like, they wouldn't go and be like, "Don't be so mean." They'd be like, "You're tougher than that. It's just words." It was always
up.
that. That was always It was always toughen up. You're gonna people are gonna they're just being stupid. They're jealous or whatever. Sometimes they try and
Mhm.
pacify you a bit, but like they would always be like, "You need to learn how to handle this." That was the first thing that was
Right.
always said. It
But
wasn't like they
now
shouldn't have done this to you. It was always a case of these are just names. You understand, right? They're words, they can't hurt you.
Right.
That's not a discussion anymore. I'm sure you could get
No.
fired for even saying that now.
But isn't that a part of the agenda, the narrative? If everything can hurt you, who do you turn to? Daddy government, right? Because they're going to enforce
Yeah.
these laws that are going to punish these people that hurt you. You
Yeah.
don't have thick
And it's
enough
not because they
skin
care
to
about you.
deal. You can't deal with these things yourself. You can't let them go. You can't ignore them. You have to report them. You have to depend on your governmental
The
agency to
government. It's
take
about
care of
dependency.
you.
That's the word.
It's disgusting. I hate it.
That the dependency is something that they've designed in. They require us to be. They require us to require them. That's how they've designed this. Whoops. Where was I? Took this guy off the screen.
California spends billions of dollars every year to reduce homelessness. Now some lawmakers want to know why it isn't helping. Since Newsom has taken office, more than $20
Where do
billion
those
have been
billions
spent
come
to reduce
from?
homelessness, but the number of unhoused has grown by a third.
And it was sort of the most American of the American states. It was the frontier, but it's actually in.
Like, where do they come from? Well, that's what is it?
taxpayers.
60% of the US like money supply has been printed in the last since COVID.
But okay,
60%.
so consider this, because this has come up in conversation. So there's been a lot of people leaving California, the ones that have the brains to do it,
Elected
right?
or whatever they call it.
There are laws being pushed to I wouldn't say punish, but basically punish, or okay, so you're running out of people
You have to
that
pay
work,
taxes where you go.
basically. So
Excuse me, I'm
you're
thinking
leaving
ahead.
the state because you freaking hate it here. Oh no, we're losing actual job having people that pay money into all of these
For all
programs,
these
right?
homeless.
They're leaving now. What they're trying to do is retroactively tack on a tax to the people that lived here to help support those programs, because they don't have the resources anymore because people are sick of it. But how can you fathom that, right? You are applying a new law, or trying to push a new law to penalize people that are done with your shit. I want out of here. To go, no, but you live there though, so we need
It's
more
actually
money.
sort of. I want to say one thing, as though it's sort of like it's disgusting and it's horrible and it's unjust and it shouldn't be happening. I want to also say it's kind of a promising sign. It's a sort of a promising sign that they're fucking this doesn't work. It's not working, and you can try and claw back a few dollars and cents from the people that left, but it's not ever going to plug this hole. Never. This is going to collapse. However, that might not. I should take that back. It's not necessarily so promising, because when this all collapses, there's a solution for that too. It's one world government.
Enabling addiction, or if you're a racial minority, or if you have a disability or a mental illness, that you're a victim.
Not the whole
The
show.
state had the
But
largest rate of increase in its homeless population in the country at 6.2%.
How she ended up.
Hold on. What's that? 6.2%. That's a lot more than 100,000 people.
That's a lot more than 100,000. These numbers, these
So-
maths are not mathing.
These maths are not mathing. What is that? So let's just go 6.2%. Well, let's say 25,000,000 times 0. What was it? 6%.
6%.
So I'll be 0.06, right?
There's at least 100,000
1.5
homeless
million
just in the
people.
Bay.
Yeah, that's 1.5 million people. That sounds more correct, doesn't it? 1.5 million. That sounds about right,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that
You've
sounds
got whole
better.
like Compton and all of the everything's like everything's fucked. So like there's whole cities of tents. That sounds about correct. Which is because the rates that he's
Sounds
saying
more accurate,
200,000. I
for
don't know
sure.
where he's getting that from. probably talking about literally just San Diego or San Francisco, sorry.
San Francisco.
But even that
maybe.
sounds low.
Up living on the street 3 months ago, addicted to fentanyl.
And my dealer said, you know, I've got these new pills.
California people have always been more interested in, like, who are you? What do you do? It's the home of the human potential movement, of what used to be called sort of peak psychology, positive psychology. What are you doing to make the most of your life? Your life is limited. You know, what are you going to do to really seize the best of yourself, to realize the best of yourself? That was the California I was drawn to. I was definitely on the radical left as a young man. I spent a bunch of time working with radical movements and have started to see some of the dark side of that in California. And in particular, the way it shows up most dramatically is what we call homelessness. Folks on the streets. You know, I have 3 friends from high school growing up that became homeless addicts. You know, 2 are dead. My aunt had schizophrenia, so mental illness is something I was familiar with. I understood addiction. And when you talk to people on the street, it's obviously not just because they couldn't make the rent. These are folks suffering overwhelmingly from untreated mental illness and or addiction.
You had a psychiatric diagnosis?
Yeah.
Which one?
Schizophrenic.
Okay. You have a doctor?
No. The majority of homeless people are drugs is an integral.
Can't keep his eyes open.
Main reason why you're out here.
You know, we had a woman, Sean, had serious mental illness, maybe schizophrenia. Her legs, she was on the streets. Her legs were rotting. You know, they're both. They took her off the street. They amputated the bottom parts of her legs. And then can you guess what they did after that?
Put her back on the street.
Put her back on the street.
Oh, brave new world we are. What a fucking place. Put it back on the street with no legs. I mean, it's either that or give him a home, right? But yeah, I wanted to show you guys that just to signify like how much they just don't care. Jess will be right back, by the way. They just don't care. And they're really letting these things go to decay. They're letting everything fall apart. Like, they know things are bad. They know things are really bad. But they're just letting everything get to a point where it's unrecoverable anymore. Because once everything's unrecoverable, that's when they can swoop in and come with all of their prescribed solutions. And they call it, you know, problem reaction solution. If you've got manufacture a problem, you can manufacture the reaction and the solution to that problem. So this really is just a descent into nothingness, and they are aware of it and they're encouraging it. And, you know, I just wanted to sort of, I don't know, it's kind of sick and sad. I don't know if there was another point in this video clip that I had to get to, but I know Jess has to leave, because we're an hour and a half in, and I actually need to take all my pills for the day because I feel sick as well. But
Oh no.
there was
I hope you
there
feel
was a bunch
better.
of other stuff. I'm all right. Like, I'm on and off sick all the time from the COVID shot, and I'm not gonna skip and dance around that. That's what happened to me. I took it and it really fucked me up. So YouTube, you can decide what you want with that information, but it's true. Yeah, and but it's just something I deal with. I was going to get into the cashless society. Australia is becoming really almost completely cashless now, and a bunch of other stuff. But I think we'll wrap it up here. I think I just wanted to display a bit of how the world is falling apart, and that it's shaping into be a brave new world.
Yep.
But anyway, I'll leave it there, guys, and I'll see you next time. I think I was going to do a stream on Saturday, but I have a special guest booked, and she had to change the date, so it's going to be on Tuesday now, I believe. So I will see you guys on Tuesday, and take care. And I don't have an outro.